I'm Jenny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. I'm here to share the speaker portion of our Connections Over Coffee gathering of the On Purpose Woman Global Community. Lydia Romero-Johnson is speaking on learning to listen to your learning to listen to your inner guidance, navigating life with intuition. Lydia, a board-certified holistic practitioner and registered nurse, combines 18 years in healthcare with a personal journey through lupus and chronic illness to empower women. A graduate of the Institute for Integrative Nutrition in Howard Community College, she specializes in mental health and stress management. Lydia's proactive, preventative approach and expertise as a health and life coach guide individuals in embracing a lively, holistic life, fostering health, confidence, and joy amidst life's challenges. Lydia, thank you so much for being with us here today, and you are on.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you all and talk about this. This is something that I think is not only an important topic, I actually think it's kind of fun to talk about as well. I find it pretty exciting. So just to get started, my hope is that through everything that I share on, that you will be able to come away with at least one thing that you could take for your life and kind of run with to help so that you can feel more supported, that you can feel more joyful, you can feel more confident. It could just enhance and improve your life in some way, shape, or form. And so again, it's making that connection about intuition and how you could use it to help you navigate. So I think where I really want to start is how it's served me, and just to plant a little seeds to then you can look at and see how it may have served you in the past and how it can serve you moving forward. And then I'll go into a little bit more about what it is. So I was diagnosed with lupus. Before I was officially diagnosed with lupus when I had my first son. He's 21 now. I had had a feeling, a suspicion, really, a knowing that it was something like lupus or lupus itself. And so I had went to the emergency room one day, and the doctor mentioned this word called lupus. When he mentioned it, it was something in my whole body that said, that's it. That's it. And I've heard so many different things throughout through the journey through years. And there was something about that me and my mom both held on to. So that took us to continue exploring additional things, excuse me, to help get that diagnosis. The other thing is my son, who's 21, around the age of 8, we got him officially diagnosed on the autism spectrum. Now, we had suspected for many years, thought, knew. It was a knowing. My mom and I, again, we had this knowing that there was something else. Once we were able to really look into it and see autism, like that was actually what came to mind. We continue to advocate for that. I remember going and talking to his doctor, and his doctor told me, why would you say he has autism? He can walk and he can talk. And so that is like how, I don't understand. I was confused, and I had family members and other people in my circle, that were just kind of trying to move me in a different direction from that. But inside, and for those of you that may be a mom, or a caregiver, your senses, your intuition could be a bit stronger, where there's just things there's just things you just feel. And so, that's something that I just want all people to really harness and strengthen that skill, that knowing, that awareness in these areas, because I feel like it can help alleviate a lot of pain and struggle, right? So imagine if I had my diagnosis much earlier. Imagine if my son was diagnosed much earlier, things could have played out a bit differently. Overall, we're grateful for where we are, absolutely. And it's just information to be aware of. So, the other thing that kind of comes to mind too is the knowing of, if you ever been in a situation where you are in a relationship and there might be different things going on. There actually might not be, and when I say different things, I mean something like stressors, conflicts, things like that. But sometimes there's just maybe none of that. Things may be going well, and there's just something inside of you that knows something different is pulling at you. And so whether that's a relationship or whether that is a job situation, where you get that inner knowing of going in a different direction. And so for me, what comes to mind is being in retail many, many years ago. And I remember the frustration with some of the job, and there was a lot of it that I appreciated. But I remember there's times I could actually snap back and remember where I had the download. I call it a download sometime, or that inner speaking or that inner voice or that, guidance of, this is not where I'm meant to be. And my next step is speaking to me. And so for me, that was a big leap into becoming a nurse, that journey. And so while there was fears in my mind about leaning into that process and journey, inside, I just knew that that was the right step for me. And so, that is something that I just really wanted to share, to invite you to think about and reflect on times where something like that has come up, and even consider how the noise of the different people, doubts, environments, things have kind of shifted it off. So maybe you didn't make that move as quickly to get the diagnosis or to make that job change or things like that, and how that can ultimately impact your life satisfaction. So, all that to say that intuition is that knowing. And so you might not have any facts. You just know this thing. And I feel like when I have those moments of strong intuition that come up, I get to notice the way that it feels. And I want to invite people to really think about how, when that comes up, how it feels, because then you get to strengthen that muscle. So I'm just going to share an example of how it feels when something like that comes up for me. So when the intuition comes up and it's a knowing of a situation, whether it is the next career move or something regarding my child's health, it feels like I can actually notice that noise that I was telling you about. Even though the noise has sometimes in the past kind of disrupted some of the process, it feels like it helps quiet things down. Things feel slower. The mind feels like there's not as much of chatter. It feels more calm and it feels more confident. So just kind of in the scientific terms of intuition, it's the knowing is what they say what it is, and what they are finding that it's a combination of patterns that help you to tap into that knowing. Now, that's definitely a process I'm not going to go into the detail of here, but just to share what that is. And so this is a spiritual group and spiritual community. And so I know that when you tend to identify as an empath or someone who is spiritual, that things like your intuition may speak to you a bit more often or a bit more naturally. It might be a skill and something that you've been able to harness overall. The thing I want to share with you all is just to consider the areas of life where you're intentionally welcoming intuition. So just like confidence, right? We can be confident in certain areas in our life. Let's say whether I can get up in front of not me personally, because this is still a bit challenging for me, but maybe someone's like, oh, I can get up on a stage and it's like amazing, right? I can do it, rock it, and it's great. And then they can say, okay, well, it's time for me to go ahead and do my finances or to do something else or to, organize a party, whatever it may be. And that may not be the thing. Same thing kind of like with intuition. There could be areas in your life where that muscle, that skill set is strengthened and a lot easier to use. So, overall, like I said, I want you to at least get one thing out of here that can help make it so that your life can feel more satisfying, enjoyable with more ease. I think that, the invitation is to really look at and assess where you are with intuition in all areas of your life. So again, a holistic approach is something that I definitely appreciate. And honestly, when I first heard that word, holistic, because it wasn't a word that I was very familiar with until I was in nursing school. Now, when I heard that word there, something in me, my whole body knew, that's it. That's it. I get chills right now just saying that because I felt it in my whole body, knowing that this here means something for me and that this is something that has importance on a bigger level, on a bigger scale for so many as well. And so that's what I want to help plant the seed of, is to kind of look at how we can cultivate that intuition in the other areas of life. So just like anything, I just like to think about a scale. So if you've been to, right, your doctor, you've ever had pain, they ask you an assessment. Where are you with your pain? 0, no pain, 10, the worst, right? So I kind of like having that line. So I want to invite you all, whether it's something you do now or after, but to really think about the areas of life. And so if we're thinking about in regards to where am I using my intuition with my health? Is that something that I'm utilizing that in the area of my health? Because it may be in the business, right? It might come very naturally to really listen to and follow along with the guidance that your intuition is giving to you. But in regards to health, maybe that hasn't been the case. And so knowing the difference of those numbers, so 0, none, right? 10, the best, like see where you are with each of those areas. So you could also include, so business or work, health, I would say even life satisfaction, thinking about life satisfaction, because that's important, right? So kind of back to quality of life. That's something that we could look at. 0, nope, I don't feel like I have a great quality of life, versus 10, I have the most amazing quality of life. Where can I go ahead and utilize my intuition to see what is that thing, whether it's that missing piece, that pull towards what would be the next best environment, person, place, thing to help support me with my quality of life and this journey. And so the intuition is something that can really, I feel, can help in so many ways to enhance your quality of life, to help with the speed at which you move in regards to taking action on thoughts and feelings and goals and things that you have. And I'll admit, like, again, the noise, when I say the noise, I mean, we can have our intuition that we're learning to practice and use. And sometimes, the happenings of life, major stress, it is hard sometimes, can be challenging to listen to your intuition when you're in a heightened state of stress, right? Whether it's from a medical issue or the world happenings or different things like that. And so that's where it could be very helpful to have strategies and different approaches to help you so that you could take that tool, kind of call it a tool, your intuition, to strengthen it, right? To get more comfortable with it. And so some of those things that come up are, and you may have heard them, especially right again here in the spiritual space, but I'm just going to share. So I'm going to go into a little bit of, some ways that you can go ahead. And so if you're looking at that assessment, 0, none, 10 the most, of where I'm using my intuition for my health, for my finances, for my relationships, that could be something also, right? And then, okay, I find the number. Maybe the number is a 5, and I really want it to be an 8 or a 10, ideally, right? Whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be perfect. But it's like, what are those things that I can put into place? Because maybe for work, I'm taking time and I am journaling on my vision. I am getting clear on what I want and how to serve. But maybe in regards to my health, I'm not taking that time or creating that space. And so, even though our intuitions ultimately can be something that if in one area we're working on it, we can see it show up in other areas. I do feel and find it can be helpful to create the space for these different areas, because sometimes we could just, it's kind of like, how we go into autopilot sometimes. When we're going into autopilot, it makes it hard for some of the things that could definitely better serve us for them to come through. So I'm going to share a few things that after you do your assessment of looking at where you are in the different areas, and you get to decide those different areas, what you can go ahead, the tools that you could use to help strengthen them. So one of the things that comes up is journaling. So journaling is one. And again, if you're doing it in one area, let's say for business or goals or things like that, really taking some time to journal in regards to your health, or set intentions and write in regards to your relationships, or in regards to your finances, different areas like that. The other thing is, again, knowing that the noise in your head, from whether it's other people's thoughts or the happenings in the world or family stressors, or, a combination of things, is to really allow for the intuition to have space to come in. And so one thing that has been proven, and also in my experience, and the experience of others, is that connection with nature. And so really making time and space to get quiet, right? How much of our time space can be, especially if we're not intentional, consumed with technology, consumed with phones, being on the laptop, being in the house, watching a show, combination of things. And so the invitation here is another way to help strengthen your intuition, to help with more life satisfaction, and all those different areas of life, to enhance things in a positive direction, is nature. And so, whether it's sitting under a tree or just being outside and surrounded by the green, or just looking and enjoying at the blue sky, spending time in nature, whatever that means for you, however it looks for you, I want to invite you to look at that. Back to the thought of the downloads or some information kind of coming through that is helpful. I find that when I'm walking in nature or just appreciating it, it gives my intuition that space to share its message. And so kind of like I sometimes call it, whether it's a whisper or a little voice, again, that internal guidance, like they start coming through, just kind of like, gosh, makes me think of the antennas, like putting the antennas in a certain way so that you go ahead and you're able to get that clearer screen on the TV screen. And so nature and journaling are things like that. The other thing too is, so what comes to me is like shower. So I have it on here. And so this is just water, But again, back to anything that is going to help you to be more in alignment with a bit more quiet, a bit more calm, a bit more relaxation. That is going to be something that your intuition is going to enjoy, and it's going to show up more. So it's kind of like, makes me think of the cat, right? You go into someone's house and the cat might be a little bit afraid to kind of come out, hide behind things. But when the environment is a certain way, the cat might be more likely to show up and, give you some cuddles, and it could be a good experience. So that is something that, I want to share with you, in regards to that. And the other thing that comes up is there are times where I've had to really question, what is this? Is this my intuition? Is this fear? What's kind of taking the lead right now? And I think it's been a combination of happenings. I could reflect where there was multiple stressors at play. And I could see how the way I want to describe it, and you get comfortable with the visual that comes to you, but I could see things sometimes in different visuals. And what comes to me is like when the stressors are happening and there's not that calm and more of that ease and that opportunity for intuition to come up and be seen and show itself in that way. It feels messy. It feels pulled in different directions. It doesn't feel, back to, what I said, like the snapshot of the definition of intuition is the knowing. And so that doesn't feel back and forth. That feels more certain, more calm, back to more confident, more sure. And so that's where, when you're in a situation where things are chaotic or very overwhelming, it's important to get back to those strategies to help so you can know what is what, what's taking the lead here. Is this my fear? Is this anxiety? Is this intuition? Now, again, think about how different environments can go ahead and lead to different ways of responding to it. Okay, so overall, right, my intention was to help you consider looking at intuition, how you could use it to help navigating life in different areas. Lively living with lupus is my personal journey and my work. And intuition has absolutely been something that has been very helpful in me navigating that journey, whether it's from having that intuition and that certainty that it was time to leave a doctor, or it was time to do a new approach. I just feel that it's something that holds much value. And so my hope is that you're able to take some time to look and reflect on where things have been in regards to your intuition and how it can better serve you in all areas of your life. And, the other thing I want to share, just really quick, because we heard it previous from Andrea in the group earlier, is that creativity, actually getting creative, can absolutely be a fun and a great way to access your intuition. It can definitely create a lot of space for it. So just to say, if nature and journaling are not the thing for you, that is another tool that you could use for it. And so I want to invite you to consider that. The other thing is, as I was looking through some information regarding this, I found that, and we know that many different professions utilize their intuition. So the Marines are one. And the other thing is, as I was in my mental health job for 10 years, I always remember that every time we did our assessments and trainings, there was trainings that we did, I always remembered the intuition piece, there was a piece in there that basically educated and supported and promoted us to use our intuition. So being in a space with mental health and psychiatric patients, and how trusting our instinct, our gut instinct, was something that was very important and something that can save lives. And so that right there just, I think, helped lock it in. So I want to, invite you to see where you can utilize some of, and this is where exploring on your own, because I think that reading and learning and exploring a topic even further, right? There's so many different layers to it, can be enriching. And so I want to invite you to consider that on your journey. And I would love to hear, anything that you have that comes up regarding your intuition, how it served you, and also a curiosity that you have about your intuition, maybe something you're wondering about and would like to learn moving forward. So you can post that in the comments. Thank you so much. It has been fun to be with you all.
Thank you, Lydia. Let me come down here with you. I'm going to ask everybody here with us on Zoom to unmute yourself, unmute, and so we can applaud and give our thanks to Lydia for sharing this wonderful information with us. Are you all ready?
Yay!
Woo!
Awesome.
And those of you who are watching this either live or on our YouTube channel, a bunch of people are waving and clapping.
Oh,
So,
thanks.
Lydia, thank you so much.
Thank
And I really appreciate the things that you brought up today. And it's wonderful to be reminded and get food for thought.
Thank you.
So I appreciate that. And be sure and check out Lydia's website, which I didn't mention at the beginning. It is also in the text of this video. It's LydiaRomero-Johnson.com. And again, you can see it in the text of this video. And thank you for watching this live again, or watching the replay. If you want to join us for one of our Zoom gatherings or an in-person gathering, you can go to my website, opwgc.com, where you can find out all kinds of information about the community. That link is also in the text of this video. Thanks again for watching.